beguiled us with victuals and other gifts, and had given us loaves of fish and any other foodstuffs they could provide. The Christians or these Spaniards were subtly inspired by the devil. Instead of the Most High say they were inspired by the devil. This is a Spaniard telling an account of his people. And without the slightest provocation butchered before my eyes, he said, some 3,000 souls, 3,000 people, men, women, and children, as they sat there in front of us. I saw that day atrocities more terrible than any living man has ever seen nor ever thought to see.
Mira lo que está diciendo acá mi hermano, es que lo que le pasó con lo que está diciendo el Señor, Baltai de la casa, de las palabras del libro de él, que está diciendo que ellos eran esperados de diablos, que no vinieran de Dios. Él mismo, el padre católico, que él escribió este libro, que dijo las cuentas de ellos, que los hicieron ellos con las religiones de ellos, no con la palabra de Dios.
To further prove what the brother just read, I'm going to read Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy chapter 28 is a book of blessings and cursings. Brothers and sisters, go ahead and read that whenever you have a chance. It'll let you know that if you obey the Father, these are the gifts and blessings that you will receive. If you disobey the Father, these are the curses that you shall reap.
That's right.
You know?
Right. Esa es la verdad lo que dice mi hermano, que mire, que ahorita estamos leyendo, vamos a leer mucho acá del libro Deuteronomio, porque hay que saber que aquí 28, en esto tenemos las bendiciones y las desobediciones que nos da el Señor. So, you know,
si hacemos caso, nos va a dar vida y todo de disfruto. Todo. Si no hacemos caso, todo lo que estamos leyendo nos va a pasar y los ha pasado y los va a seguir pasando.
Y por eso la vida de los otros no cambia. Hay que ver eso. ¿Por qué no cambia la vida de los otros latinos? ¿Por qué? Porque no hacemos caso a la palabra de Dios. Nosotros sabemos que esta palabra es de los otros.
Now, Deuteronomy 28, verse 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which the Lord shall send against thee. In hunger, we've read that we died of hunger. In thirst, we died of thirst. In nakedness, they robbed us of all our clothes. It says, and in want of all things, our children. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until thou have been destroyed.
That's right.
Verse 49. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar. Right, we were in the Western Hemisphere. Right. The Spaniards came from Europe. Okay? They crossed over. A nation from afar, it says, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. As we know, the American sign is the American bald eagle.
That's right.
He's telling he's going to send these so-called Americans or the Spaniards over here with the emblem of the eagle, which represents strength and fierceness. He says, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Because they came over here speaking Spanish, which is the language that most of the 10 tribes speak today, which is not their original tongue. It is a language that we got beat to the sword to understand.
That's right. It's about, what, 8 different dialects of different Spanish.
Right. I mean,
Spanish language.
If you're from El Salvador, Guatemala, Cuba, Mexico, the Dominican, those are 5 different types of Spanish dialects.
Right.
You know, it's all for the main part have the same layout, but it's all different in dialects. Little words vary here and there.
And we don't understand any of the dialects that they spoke, regardless of what Spanish dialect they spoke. They were still foreign to us. Just to make sure to understand that, it was still foreign to us. You know, that was implemented into our lives. Así como he dicho lo que está hablando mi hermano aquí, es que ahorita vamos a leer de este libro de Deuteronomio lo que pasó a los otros, las cosas.
Before you get into the Spanish. Also in verse 50, it says, a nation of fierce countenance. Okay, they were going to have these faces of anger and brutality, as we've read.
And we have pictures to prove it in this book. Get the book and you'll see. The pictures are in here. They drew the pictures of, have pictures drawn of what they were doing to us.
Go ahead. And you could Google this book. Go to Google and Google it so you can find it. I suggest you buy it. This is vital information of our history that hasn't been told to us.
Right.
It says, a nation, verse 50, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall regard which shall not regard the persons of old, nor show favor to the young.
That's what I just read to him.
He just read, destroying the children, destroying the old, destroying the women, destroying the husbands. It says 51. I'm just going to keep reading because all this goes with that.
Yeah.
51. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or the flock of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee.
Oh, yes.
Okay? Continue, verse 52. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, and until the high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trusted it. Yeah, we felt secure in these lands. We felt that we had nothing coming to us. We're some godly people in our own understanding, not in the understanding of the Father. It doesn't matter what we think. That's what the Father thinks. It says, throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all the land which the Lord thy God has given thee.
That's right.
Go ahead, brother.
This happened to us, you know. I want to look at Micah 2:1. Because you look at all the atrocities that we have been going over that were done to the 10 tribes that were here, a peaceful people, you know, pretty much. I mean, you look at how we were just, we might have a problem with each other, but we wasn't at war like that. We didn't have, like when they came with the gun. We had little, you know, we had to make up, it tells us how we had to make weapons to fight with. Therefore, we didn't have the weaponry needing to fight each other. As, you know, they came, we had to come up on another level of how to even try to fight them, you know, just to save our lives. It says, woe, Micah 2:1, it says, woe, which means destruction to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it. That's what they were doing every morning, coming out killing us. It says, because it is in the power of their hand, and they had that power in their hand. What was in their hand? That gun. You know,
the sword
and the gun also. I mean, they came here and they just started to wipe us out. You know, one by one. It said 3,000 souls. He said it right here. This Spaniard said he's seen them kill 3,000 people in one day, one morning. Wake up and just kill everyone. And we bought them food and rations to live. You know, and it was to the point where we knew that their God that we said in our minds was gold. They wanted the riches so bad, and think about all the people that died in the mines, that they went down into the mines, and they took us and put us on ships and sold us in different parts of different lands to mine, and we died on the ships. We died just continually, over and over again. This is long before any so-called African American came here to the Americas, as far as them coming from the ships from Africa and from Europe. They took us off our land here in America and put us on those ships and sent us all over the world. We're going to deal with that also. In captivity, to work for them. For what? Gold. They said, to the point where we said, this is their God, gold. And we'll do different things to get the gold, and we didn't bring enough gold, they would kill us.
También hay que pensar también lo que está diciendo el hermano aquí del libro, lo que ha escrito Bartolomé de las Casas, de que eran diablos ellos, que cada mañana se despertaba solamente para destruirlos. Y aquí hay una cuenta en el libro de Miqueas, cuando Jesucristo dice que también a ellos también lo va a destruir también por las cosas que ellos hicieron. So, también hay que saber que todas esas cosas no solamente son para los otros, pero también esas cosas son para ellos. Pero también hay que bien entender que las cosas que nos pasan a nosotros es porque también nosotros no obedecemos la palabra de Dios. Estamos hablando a los latinos que oigan eso. Es lo más importante que estamos tratando de aprender a ustedes, es que hay que obedecer a la palabra de Dios por las cosas que ellos hicieron. Como hablamos ahorita en Miqueas 2:1, dice, ay de los que piensan iniquidad. Ellos solamente pensaban de matanza, ellos no pensaban de amor o paz, porque así como dice mi hermano, que ellos ya tenían las pistolas, ellos tenían armas para pelear. Nosotros no teníamos nada, porque nosotros no peleamos cada isla para cada isla, porque nosotros sabíamos que éramos hermanos.
Decía que venían en paz, pero o en la palabra, a dar la palabra de Dios, pero lo que hacían es voltaron las espaldas a nosotros y los leían la palabra en lenguas que no entendíamos y después le decían al rey de España que no quisimos agarrar la fe y después lo mataron.
Y así como dice aquí, dice, y de los que fabricaron el mal en sus camas, cuando vienen en la mañana lo ponen por obra, porque tienen en su mano el poder. Porque nosotros le dimos el poder. Nosotros le dimos todo el poder a ellos, porque eso fue dicho en la palabra de Dios, que nosotros le íbamos a dar el poder a otra nación que va a venir a destruirlas, que una lengua que nosotros no vamos a entender. So, hay que hacer caso a lo que estamos diciendo aquí. Como dice el hermano, no estamos tratando de ofender a nadie, sino que solamente estamos ayudando a darte la verdad como es la verdad.
Con. So they hit that, finish up on that Micah?
Micah
2:1.
Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. This is what they were doing. Consistently working this evil every night, come having meetings thinking, how are they going to destroy us? It says, when the morning is light, they practice it. That's what we're reading about. I want to read how, even here it says, in Cuba, since we still in Cuba, it says, some of the natives began to flee into the hills, while others were in such despair that they took their own lives. They committed suicide. Men and women hanged themselves and even sprung up their own children. There's an account where a woman hung herself with a child hanging on her thigh, and before that child could die, the dogs came and ate her up. Man, it says, as a direct result of the barbarians of one Spaniard, a man I knew personally, more than 200 locals committed suicide. Countless thousands in all dying in this way. Just committed suicide. So there was one royal official on the island who, when he was allotted 300 natives, worked them so hard that at the end of 3 months, only 30. That is to say, just 1/10 of the original number, that's in 3 months, were still alive. The other 270 having perished down the mines. Later he received another consignment of much the same number, or even more, and he saw them off too. The more he received, the more he killed, until eventually he himself died and the devil took his soul.
The
devil took his soul, because he knew all the atrocities that were done to the children of Israel. For a fact, the devil took his soul straight to hell. So that's all the time that we have for this edition of Shield of Wisdom, but we're going to continue on this episode of the destruction of the Indians, or the 10 tribes right here in the Americas. And if you'd like further information, you can reach me, Priest Wam, at P.O. Box 2012, Long Beach, California. That's 90801. Our brothers and sisters of Israel, welcome to Shield of Wisdom. This is the concluding episode on the destruction of the 10 tribes that came here to the Americas. We're dealing primarily with Central and South America area. But we were all destroyed. All the 10 tribes were from Canada all the way to the end of South America, into the Atlantic Ocean. So we were covering from,
Canada to Brazil and every island in the circumference.
All those places. So I want to read this because we know that the Europeans came here. If you've been keeping up with the series, and we've been reading from this book, Bartolomé de la Casa, the short account of the destruction of the Indies. And this is a Spaniard that was writing about the atrocities that he's seen his people, the Spaniards, doing as they came here and just destroyed men, women, and children. And I want to read this in Psalms 55:20 and 21. It says, he hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. We were very peaceful people here. It says he hath broken his covenant. Broke over what? 450 treaties? It says he's broken his covenant, which is a contract or agreement. It says his words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. So he spoke good. It's because he came over here saying they were Christians. Saying that they believe in the Bible. What smoother words could you speak than to speak the words so-called of the Most High? Only it was in fraudulent. It says he hath it says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. So his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And we have many accounts in this book, which you need to purchase. You know, what you say, you can download it online?
Yeah, go online. I mean, if you're short on funds, go online, Google it. It's called Bartholomew de las Casas, a Devastation of the Indies, a brief account. And when you go on there, you'll be able to see pictures with the quotes.
That's right. Pictures showing you exactly what happened. You can't see it because of the distance that we are now, but they drew pictures of the things that we're saying. You can go in this book and he drew pictures of it. You know, artists didn't just come on the earth with the time that you were born. We've always had artists, you know?
Right.
Ay, lo que está hablando mi hermano aquí es de esta foto de aquí del libro de Bartholomew de la Casa. Lo que está diciendo, las cosas que nos pasaron a nosotros, las mentiras que lo hicieron para ellos que hicieran las cosas para que lo destruyeran a nosotros. Así como estamos leyendo en el libro de Salmos 54:20, dice: extendido sus manos contra sus pacíficos, violó su pacto. Hablando más que manteca su boca, pero guerra hay en su corazón. Así como dijo, él con su corazón vino con guerra, pero eso te vino hablando, que somos cristianos, excepta esto, y como nosotros sabiendo que nosotros vinimos de Dios, se oyó bien las cosas que estábamos diciendo nosotros, entonces vinieron ellos y los mataron. Es la verdad, los vinieron y los mataron.
Nomás nos dijeron eso para que pusiéramos la garda abajo. Cuando bajamos la garda, ahí tuvieron ventaja de nosotros.
Por eso dice aquí, subvestían sus palabras más que el aciete, más ellas son cuchillos. Entonces, ¿qué está diciendo? Que las palabras que los decían ellos solamente eran para matarlos con el cuchillo. So hay que entender eso, que las palabras que decían ellos no era para paz, no era para amor, no era para que éramos amigos, sino que era para que los destruyeran. Así como he dicho en este libro, así como dije en el principio del show, dije que muchos latinos saben de este libro. Muchos latinos han oído de Bartholomew de la Casa.
Pero no lo han leído, léanlo bien para que sepan quién son y lo que le han pasado.
Sí.
Con eso vamos a seguir leyendo. Después, cuando acabe en inglés, mi hermano lo va a decir en español. All right, to go further on with this, like I said, we're dealing with Deuteronomy 28. We're really dealing with the whole scripture. But I suggest that you read Deuteronomy 28 to learn the blessings and the cursings, then get this book by Bartholomew de las Casas and understand. If you are the children of Israel, you will be able to identify. If you don't identify, then this ain't for you. With that said, we're going to go further into this. It says, for this transaction was aided by 6 or 7 ships voyaging along the coast to take on board and sell the surplus requisition slaves in Panama and Peru.
So they sold the slaves, but they were mounted on ships?
Yeah, they were cargo slaves. They were slaves as cargoes being sold.
Right. The 10 tribes.
The 10 tribes, just like the so-called African Americans were brought over on slave ships and sold. Same way it happened also to the 10 tribes.
Right.
So eso lo pasó a los hermanos de nosotros, los trajeron en barcos.
Los trajeron en barcos y los vendieron de mercancía, así como hicieron a los que se llaman supposedly African American, a los negros, así los pasó a los latinos también. El modo que los trajeron en barco y los vendieron de esclavos, así los hicieron a todos, los vendieron de esclavos en barcos.
Y eso está diciendo ese libro.
Y eso está diciendo en el libro.
Ese libro está diciendo eso. No es la palabra de nosotros, no es la palabra de mi hermano, pero este libro, Bartholomew de la Casa, está diciendo ahorita lo que dice la Biblia, que los vendieron y los mandaron a barco, de isla a isla, a barco a barco.
And all of those captives soon died, for it has been asserted from experience, repeated 1,000 times. The Indians were uprooted from their native land, very soon perished. Then too, they are never given enough to eat. Their labor is never lightened in any way, since they are bought and sold only to do heavy work. Thus, more than 500,000 native Indians were torn out of this province and sold into slavery by way of slave ships.
500,000 indios. ¿Saben qué dijo, hermano?
Vendidos por esclavos.
Por esclavos.
Más de mitad de un millón. Okay? And eso es en el pueblo de Nicaragua. This is taking place in Nicaragua, brothers and sisters. We letting you know we touching all over. Now we're getting into Mexico and Guatemala. It says, and when the Spaniards demanded tribute slaves, because the reason they demanded tribute slaves was because they had already murdered and killed